would you like to know more about the demonstration?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so great. We're showing standard practices from like what's called animal agriculture.
Yeah.
We're also showing things from like the use of animals for sports and medical testing and things like that. How do you feel when you see such footage?
I mean, I've seen it. I'm an environmentalist myself, so I know I've seen a lot of these kind of things, and it's just traumatic.
Yeah, it's traumatic. Like, so we're showing like animals being hurt. Is it safe to say that seeing that causes you to feel saddened?
Of course, yeah, for sure. But again, I feel like people need to see them in person so that they really feel it.
Yeah.
I feel like once they see this, it's very easy for them to phase it out later.
How about you? Do you personally live a vegan lifestyle, or how do you?
I don't live a vegan lifestyle. I've often battled with that. But I do try to eat as much vegetables as I can. I wouldn't say I've completely phased out poultry.
Do you want to phase out
I do
animals?
try. Yeah, for sure. But I'm from a country where this kind of killing is not necessarily as rampant or as mass as it might be in the States.
So what we're promoting is veganism. So we take issue not only with taking of life from an animal, but of exploiting them.
Of course.
So it's our belief that it's not our place as humans to dictate a purpose for other animals, that we should just view them as beings who are with us, not here for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Oh, so it sounds like you actually agree with veganism.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, of course.
So what's stopping you from making that switch? Is there a particular food item or something culturally holding you back? Tradition?
Well, where I'm from, there's not a lot of vegan options, so there's that as well. We don't have a lot of vegetarianism. But I would say I don't eat a lot as it is, so I wouldn't say I'm not a complete vegan or vegetarian, but I'm hopefully getting there.
So oftentimes you'll hear of people saying that like the plant-based options are harder to find or that they're kind of more expensive. You'll hear that, but it's usually the case most anywhere that the cheapest options are always like the potatoes, the rice, like basic kind of like fruit and grain staples. I mean, if you imagine going to a country where they eat like, assuming that you don't eat, let's say like monkeys, if they were eating monkeys, you might find a way to refrain from doing so, no matter how inconvenient it was for you to do so. So I would encourage you just with these animals
for sure.
that we consider more the typically farmed animals or food animals. Have you ever heard the term speciesism?
No.
So speciesism is a form of discrimination where different members of different species classes are given different levels of moral consideration.
Okay.
For example, like in the US, there's plants that are designed, like when I say plants, I mean like a factory, not like a plant that grows out of the ground, but there's factories that have like thousands and thousands of pigs processed every day. They're killing them. Whereas it can be criminally prosecuted if somebody's like abusing a dog, for example. I'm pretty sure that could be criminal.
I don't know, this might be on a philosophical level, but oh dear God. There's something called the great chain of being, and it's about how man has established himself as the superior being compared to everything else, and so that they all have the different layers. So a dog might be a little bit higher than a cow, per se. So there is that philosophical perspective, for sure.
And that all ties in, wherever we put ourselves at the top, we're forgetting that we're the oppressors.
Oh, for sure.
So we're always looking through our lens rather than through the lens of the victim.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, capitalism is its own.
Yeah, and I mean, capitalism started with the herding mentality of other animals. I mean, the original form of money was other animals. The original war was a desire for more heads of cattle,
more resources.
Exactly. But, it just happens to be the case that we can actually live really healthy, fulfilling lives, eating lower on the food chain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Healthier, and more environmentally friendly also. But it's never the case that the environment is the driving reason for going vegan, because just like, the fact that maybe transatlantic slave trade ships were bad for the environment, we would never look at that as a reason for being opposed to that trade, you know what I mean?
Which is really bizarre, because like without the environment we would cease to exist, right? We wouldn't have fossil fuels, we wouldn't have electricity. People don't see that.
Of course, it is vital. My point is just that is a side effect of how out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying that people don't realize that they have to care about the environment because they get it.
Of course, yeah. And, I mean, and that definitely affects our well-being too. Like, you know, for all life on this planet. So it seems like you agree with veganism, right? But it sounds like nothing is really stopping you either. It sounds like you don't have any reasons not to be vegan.
Yeah. You're right. I should. For sure. I'm gonna definitely try my best.
So one thing I just want to leave you with is that you know, some people will see this footage and they'll try to think of ways that they can divest themselves from slaughter or from animal exploitation in general, whether or not they're participating in practices that are directly like similar to these practices. I mean, generally speaking, some people will say I'm against this, and then they'll change their behavior. It's like a psychology thing. But otherwise, people might try to change their attitudes to kind of be in line with their behavior, because otherwise we're in a really uncomfortable state. It's called cognitive dissonance, where our actions and our values are like not in alignment.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, you've given me a lot to think about.
That's great to hear. Yeah, and just know that, you know, until you make the decision, hopefully soon, to go vegan, that animals will be abused for you. So you know, the sooner you make that decision, the sooner you can kind of embark on.
For sure. No, thank you.
I really appreciate you stopping.
No, I really appreciate this demonstration.
And one thing I'd recommend is it's called The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear. It's by an activist named Gary Yourofsky. I believe if you go to cubeoftruth.com, you should be able to link to that from there.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is the Cube of Truth. This is
the Cube of Truth.
Cube of Truth. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Well, thanks so much for stopping.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your day. Of course.
You too.
Hello. Can I give you guys some more information about this demonstration?
Sure.
Great. So we're showing standard practices from the meat, egg, and dairy industries, and also other industries that abuse animals, like medical testing industries, and like sports that use animals, like horse racing and things like that.
Gotcha.
Have you guys ever happened to see any footage like of animals being like exploited before?
No.
Really? How do you feel when you see it? Like, so I can explain kind of what you're seeing. So this is in the egg industry. The type of chicken who's bred for their meat is a different one than the type that's bred for their eggs. So you can guess if the egg breed hen is not born a hen and she's born male. You know, if they're born male, they get blended up alive. Yeah.
No. Shut your mouth.
Yeah. So every time if you buy an egg, you're buying from a hatchery that killed all the males, either by blending them up or by putting them in a garbage bag and just letting them suffocate, or letting them just starve in a dumpster or something, or get CO2 gas. It's a lot of people don't know that. That's standard practice. Yeah, because like I said, it's not profitable for them to raise them for meat, because they're not broiler chickens. They're not the type that gets really big and like up to slaughter weight really quickly. They remain skinny. They're just bony egg-laying chickens. Yeah, it's really sad. Just think about like a baby chick. You know, they just turn them into a smoothie. You know what I mean? That's like a wood chipper. It's called a macerator. But that's just one example. So if you look at like any industry, like dairy, for example, you know, that's I didn't realize until I was in my 20s that a mom cat, like a cow, needs to become a mom in order to give milk. You know, she's not just producing milk naturally. I mean, I couldn't have even told you when I was 20 something. It's embarrassing to say, but I didn't even make the distinction between a male and a female bovine. You know what I mean? In terms of like which one produces milk. I was just like, oh, cows produce milk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're taught not to question these things. You know. Have you guys ever heard of speciesism? So it's this idea within our society where certain species of animals, based on their membership within that species, are afforded different levels of moral consideration, even legal protection. So for example, in the US, beating a dog is considered like animal abuse. You can get in legal trouble for beating a dog. If you slit a pig's throat and chop them up and wrap them up in plastic, you can get a medallion award for like best pork producer. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like people will actually reward like vicious acts on certain animals and make it a crime to hurt another one. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, thank you. We're gonna actually go, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for stopping. And just to inform you guys, so this is all from a documentary called Dominion.
Oh. Okay.
And it's out of Australia, so this is like Australian standard practices. But I mean, pretty much anywhere you look, it's the same standard practices. Yeah. Okay. And just want to leave you guys with the thought that like if you guys aren't currently vegan, that until you do go vegan, unfortunately, these things will be happening to animals for avoidable reasons. You know, for things that you can find alternatives to do. So that's all that being vegan is. And if you can't find alternatives for something, if it's not possible for whatever reason, then it's still vegan. You know what I mean? Like if somebody has to use medicine that's tested on animals so that they don't have seizures, I mean, that's not that's not out of alignment with veganism. It's more that like you can choose a black bean burger, Impossible Burger, whatever, or you can choose like the smashed cow burger. You know, like your choice in that instance. The evil isn't when you're eating that cow. It's when you make that choice. It's when you signal the demand to the people producing that in the back end. You know, yeah. Every dollar that we spend, ultimately, you know, it has a path, and unfortunately, it can cause other beings to have their lives wasted for no reason. You know.
Oh, I'm so sorry, but thank you though.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for stopping. And of course, like, really, it's not vegans who need to be apologized to. It's these animals. You know, we always have to remind ourselves that they're the true victims. So I hope you guys continue keep making choices where they're considering those animals.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for stopping. Hey, how's it going? Would you like some more info? Good, thanks. Would you like some more info about the demonstration?
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay, cool. How do you do you want to talk about it, or we're just kind of outreaching people to have conversations about it? But if you rather not,
Can you talk about it with you?
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So what we're doing here is we're promoting veganism, like a vegan lifestyle. So we're promoting basically a life where we don't eat animals or like any dairy, like egg kind of stuff, and also where we don't that's like medical testing. So we don't want to test on animals, or we don't want animals to be used in sports and stuff either, like horse racing or like dog fighting, that kind of stuff. Have you heard of veganism before?
Yeah.
Cool. How do you relate to it? Like, do you think it's like a worthwhile thing to do?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's just based off of changing the perspective.
Yeah, you got it.
And then
Exactly.
when you're thinking about changing the perspective, you gotta think about changing multiple factors.
Sure.
Maybe you should be using how much money is being profited off of it
Yeah, exactly.
to bring statistics.
Exactly. And all the spending that we do that goes toward alternatives, like the Beyond products or whatever, like the things that don't necessitate the mass slaughter, all of that's a vote, so we're always constantly making little signaling in the marketplace, and when obviously just you or just me or even all of us here maybe can't really make a dent, but when you think about all the millions of people together just living in a life where we're not making other animals into like objects to just consume, it can really have a positive impact.
I mean, even addressing it by the health disparities. I mean, that's another avenue to be
health,
maybe
environment.
One could be displaying what's happening to the animals. The other one could be displaying what's happening to your body by you consuming it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, this group actually, it used to have the catch line or kind of slogan phrase of animals, environment, and health. But in more recent times, the group dropped the environment and health aspects just because it can be, I totally understand that those can be benefits of a plant-based world, definitely. But it's the case that like when you look at all the things that vegans are against, be it like use of animals in food or circuses or experimentation and things like that, the common thread is always the animals, because we're against using animals even if it wasn't bad for the environment, even if it wasn't bad for our health, because we're opposed to it in terms of just like on an ethical ground. Have you ever thought about adopting a vegan lifestyle?
Well, I try to change my eating habits already. I've been trying to work on that.
You're going in that direction?
Yeah,
that's great.
Just because I want to live healthier.
Mm-hmm. And for some people, that's the initial motivation, and then after a while of not eating them, you think, oh, this doesn't even really seem like food to me anymore. I'll just go get a tempeh, bacon, or a tofu burger or something like that. It's just you just get a new normal kind of routine.
It's transforming.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said initially, it's all about your perspective, because I think that there's a big vested interest by a lot of corporations to keep us in this mentality where we see other animals as so far below that our taste pleasures, just desire for a sandwich or something, trumps their entire life. It's like we are taught to view ourselves as supreme beings compared to other animals. We even are told, a lot of people are told by their parents that humans are made in God's image and that other animals don't have a soul, and so it's not important to just use them as expendable commodities.
I mean, I think an important factor as well is the way eating styles are passed on generationally.
Yeah.
You got to look at those things too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're trying to change people's mindset, you got to start with the generation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think health also ties into that a lot. When you look at what diseases run in families, there's a saying like diseases don't run in families, diets do. So yeah, it sounds like you have a really good grasp on it. I would encourage you to look into this organization. It's called Anonymously Voiceless. So there's a website called Cube of Truth that has more resources that you can follow in order to kind of to learn more if you so desire, and maybe it can give you the kind of the impetus to or impetus, how you pronounce that, tomato to look more into it. I appreciate your stopping. By the way, I record videos for my YouTube channel, so I just have a little camera and mic set up. Would it be okay if I featured you on my channel? No big deal if not.
What would I have to do?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Is it recording right now?
Yeah, it is.
That's fine.
It's behind some people, but
yeah, that's fine.
Cool. I appreciate your stopping. And again, I would recommend going to cubeoftruth.com. And it sounds like you're already on the track of raising awareness about it within yourself, and adopting those changes. So I just encourage you to spread that as much as you can, because it's not something that's ever going to harm anybody. Just to be kind to animals. It never hurts anybody. It's always a positive message.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for stopping.
No problem.
Take care, man.